Hello, I'm Cody, and I'm here to welcome you to Tech Tuesday at 2 in the Edmund Lowe Creative Studios. Both the event and the space are designed to encourage students to experiment with some of the latest software and technology and devices. We want to make these tools accessible to all OSU students and provide opportunities for them to develop proficiency and comfort with the kinds of technology that they will need to be successful both here at OSU and beyond. Tech Tuesday at 2 will meet here in the Edmund Lowe Creative Studios on the first Tuesday of every school month for interactive showcases of emerging and innovative technologies. Last year, we learned about the pen tool, photography, and 360-degree cameras. If you missed one of our programs or simply just need a refresher, all the programs will be rebroadcast on O State TV and can be found by searching the library's website for previous Tech Tuesday events. We start our program today with an overview of green screen and video production led by Blake Shy, a video producer and director for the Institute of Teaching and Learning Excellence, followed by a hands-on demonstration of how to edit your captured green screen footage, as well as a Q&A session. If you're watching on today's live stream, you can submit questions via Twitter using the hashtag LibTech2s. If you are here in our audience, you can ask questions at any time during the presentation. The green sticky notes on the back of your computers say, "I'm ready," and following along. If you have a question, place a pink sticky note on the back to indicate that you have a question, and we will swing by and assist you in any way we can. At the end of our program, we will be drawing for prizes, including today's grand prize, a portable green screen. If you are an OSU student here with us, be sure to fill out our prize entry form. Without further ado, we will have Blake take it away.
How's everybody doing today? Everybody have a good Labor Day weekend? Good to hear. Well, as Cody said, my name is Blake Shy. I am a video producer director over at ITLE, just over down the street here across from Monroe. Basically, I'll talk a little bit about myself. I just actually started working at ITLE actually about a month ago. Before that, I was working as a producer for O State TV, if some of you are familiar with O State TV. Of course, Cody just mentioned that, we're live streaming this today. I was a producer there for 2 years, about 2 years before that, and I graduated with my bachelor's degree here at OSU in broadcast journalism and sports media, and I'm currently working on my master's degree. So that's just a little bit about myself. I'm used to not being in front of the camera. I'm used to being behind the camera because that's just what I do for a living. So today we're just going to talk about green screens, just a little bit about chroma key basics. Is everybody kind of familiar about what green screen is? Kind of maybe a little bit of the basic concept. You probably see it on TV a lot, see it in motion pictures, that sort of thing. Well, I'll talk a little bit about, just the basics of, how it works and that sort of thing. But first, I'm going to show you this video that I found on YouTube. This was back from the late 80s of how chroma key works, in the broadcast news world. So let's take a look at it. The audio will work. Hold on a second. I had it muted, that's why. All right, let's play it.
Of course, much of our work is done in the studio where anything can happen.
When we do the weather, both Dave and I, we look behind us and there's nothing there but a big green wall. The wall is made up of a cloth that's lighted from behind to make sure it's really bright. But then when you look at us, you see a wall, but instead of the wall showing up, we're standing in front of a very nice weather map. Now that's because the camera that's looking at us can't see the color green. It's electronically trained not to. So we have another picture come up and back. Also, we've got our little clicker hidden up our sleeve, another trick that we use, and we can change the weather maps. One after another, they go right through the sequence, one after another, all the way through until we get to the end and come to the forecast. Then, of course, we can do a lot of things. A lot of little tricks are done with chroma key. Remember that movie Bewitched, when they were able to just wiggle their nose and disappear? Well, we might be able to do that, too. Let's see. Hey, that worked. Can I come back? Yeah, it worked. We also can make parts of us disappear because we just take a cardboard or something that's almost the same color as the chroma key, and slowly but surely, the old weatherman can sink slowly into the west. And then, of course, reappear.
Well, that's just a little bit about, 80s technology that's still kind of used today, kind of some little tricks and tricks of the trade when using chroma key. So basically, what is chroma keying? As most of you know what, as green screen keying, it's basically a visual effects technique for layering two images or videos together based on color hues. And so, say for instance, so you have a green background or a blue background or whatever color, and I'll talk about the different types of colors that they use here in a minute. Basically, what happens is when you do in post-production, you key that color out so that that background, that green or whatever color background, is gone, and so you can overlay a video, you can overlay an image back behind that person, and so that's just kind of the basic concept. You're just keying out that color. That color's basically a transparent background, and you can put whatever you want back there. So, I mean, it's pretty simple in simple terms. The color hues that are most commonly used in chroma keying is green or blue, and the reason why those two colors are mainly used is because as it says up here, these colors differ most in hue from most skin tone colors. So basically, if you're wearing a blue shirt or blue pants or blue something, and you're in front of a blue screen and it's chroma keyed, then that piece of clothing is going to be keyed in, or the image is going to be keyed in, into your shirt and stuff like that. So you want to avoid wearing the same color of clothing or whatnot than what the color is back behind you. And same with any other color and that sort of thing. And who uses it the most? You'll see a lot in newscasts. You'll see the meteorologist or the weathercaster, doing his weather maps and that sort of thing. He'll stand in front of a green screen, and what he actually does is that he'll be pointing on the green screen here, but then there's a monitor that is right directly in sight. He'll be looking this way, so he's not actually looking at the screen because there's at the board because there's nothing there. It's just a green backdrop or a blue backdrop. He'll be looking straight at the monitor, and and he sees himself keyed over that green screen board or a blue screen board. And so he's looking at that and he's pointing at the maps and that sort of thing. So that's just a basic concept of how that works in the news. And not only weathercasters use it, you see it a lot in just general newscasts and stuff like that. They'll be standing in front of a big green or blue screen board, and basically they can create like maybe a virtual set or that sort of thing. So they can create like this virtual backdrop, and it's just really neat how it all works and stuff like that. So, I mean, you can use chroma key in a wide variety of ways. Another thing too that's really mainly used for also too is in motion pictures and in video games too. A lot of movies that you see and other types of motion pictures, you'll see a lot of effects and stuff like that really mainly uses chroma key. And so I'll show you the next couple of pictures of how we use green screens at O State TV. Of course, you guys can recognize who this is. This is our president, OSU President Burns Hargis. He's in our ITLE studio, and he's standing in front of a green screen. We had him do a couple of shoots a couple of years ago for our Inside OSU series that we produce on O State TV. And so we were creating a new open. And so we had these shoots, we had him stand in different poses and stuff like that, arms crossed, that sort of thing. And so, we got all these shots together, and we wanted to pick out the right the right shot to use. And then this is our title sequence at the end of our open for Inside OSU. So we keyed President Hargis in front of a shot of the campus, an aerial shot of the campus, and we keyed over, we put the title over that. So, putting all those elements together makes it look like a really crisp product, and it makes, President Hargis feel like that he's over the entire university and that sort of thing. So it looks really cool. So I just wanted to show you a couple examples of how we use it here at use it over at ITLE and at O State TV. And if you guys have any questions at all, during my presentation, just feel free to raise your hand and ask. I may be going through this really quick. I may be going through a lot of stuff, but if I need to slow down or anything, just let me know. Some elements that are important when you do chroma key, and of course I forgot to mention too that here in the Creative Studios, they do have a room that has a green screen in it. I think it's back over here in the corner over here that you can go and check out. You can check out a block of time to use their chroma key and stuff like that. So you can go in, they have the lights and everything, and I'll talk a little bit more about lighting with chroma key and that sort of thing. So if you have a class project or something like that that you want to use the green screen here at the Creative Studios, just go talk to the people over here and get a room booked out, and it's really free to use for students and staff, faculty, and all that stuff. So take advantage of it because it's a really cool thing that we have here at the library. Elements that are important. I did talk about color separation. Basically, like if you're wearing the same color as the background, it's not going to key very well. Obviously, even if you have a certain hue of green, if it's not the same color, or if it's just not really going to look very crisp. You really want to differentiate the colors as much as you can. So if you are in front of a green or blue screen, maybe you wear black, maybe you wear red. Just really keep a separation of the colors that you do plan to wear if you're going to be in front of a green screen, or if you have a subject that's in front of a green screen. That's really important. Also, scene lighting. The lighting is very important when you do chroma key, and one of the main issues that you can come across with lighting is shadows that cast on the background. If you have really dark shadows that cast on the background, it's really going to affect whatever you have keyed back there. So if you try to key something in the back and you have shadows, then it's going to show up. Your shadows, like if you move around, it's going to show up in the key and that sort of thing. And so what you really want to do is have a properly lit background that's really even lighting all the way across, and then of course key your subject, or not key your subject, light your subject very well, even lighting, that sort of thing too, so you don't have shadows on the subject as well, but you really want to eliminate as much of the shadows on the background as you can. And in that video I just showed you earlier, what they did, they actually lit the background. It was a cloth green screen, and so what they did is that they lit behind it, and so that way they don't have lights that are like right up against the light or up against the board, which you can do, but that's how they did it in that video. And actually I may have, let me step back a minute, I don't know if I passed it already. I'll go back to this picture right here. This picture right here is one of our studios over at ITLE, and with our green screen. And you see those lights on the top, you got 3 lights on the top. Those lights are shining just on the green screen itself. And so when you have a subject that's in front of it, quite a ways from the board itself, you have that screen lit on the back. That's what's going to eliminate all the shadows. And then I have 2 lights that are, one's over here, and so your light, and I would have the person stand like right in front of the camera, and you see that camera right there, and those 2 lights are diffused lights that are shining on the subject, so it's giving them some even lighting, and you get those lights in the background. So that's kind of how you can light a green screen. So I just want to go back and show you that picture because I forgot to mention that. One other thing, and then of course the picture again kind of shows the opposite perspective. You got the camera right there in the middle and the two lights that are shining on the subject. Camera exposure, you don't really want to overexpose or underexpose the subject, because if you do that, then it's going to kind of mess with, your shots and stuff like that. So, of course, again, background must be properly lit, and I keep emphasizing that because, it's really going to make or break, how you light and how your green screen shot really will turn out. But lighting is just very important, in green screen shooting. So really emphasize lighting. Here's an example of when I'm talking about shadows. So the subject on the left is standing really. It seems like she's standing really close to the green screen board. And something else that I want to mention too is that you might want to have your subject stand a little bit away from the board itself, so you're not really casting a whole lot of shadows. You may want to give some sort of depth of field between the background itself and then the subject. That way you can kind of alleviate some of that shadow and that sort of thing. And so I just want to show an example of that and show you the shadows and everything. Chroma key is not only applicable to post-production. Of course, you can key in live production too. When I talk about newscasts and stuff like that, or talk about weather, meteorologists doing their weather reports over chroma key. So switchers have the capability, like video switchers that you see in like control rooms. If you go to a news station, you go into a control room, switchers have the capabilities to manipulate or to do the chroma keys and stuff like that. You can set them up to do that. And as far as like live streaming software too, a lot of those have chroma key capabilities where you can do that. The units that we use at O State TV, we use a unit called the TriCaster. Yeah, thank you, Shannon. Creative Studios have the capabilities where you can do that. They have the software where you can do that as well. What? The screen? Oh. Thank you. It just wants to reboot from time to time. I thought you were talking about the green screen back there. But that's also good to mention too, again and again, to try to plug that as much as possible. But as I was saying, we use a unit called a TriCaster at O State TV, and that's how we're live streaming this event today. It has the capabilities of doing chroma key and stuff like that too, and also has capabilities of doing virtual sets. So if like I'm sitting at this table here and all of this was green, like we had chroma key paint, chroma key boards and stuff like that, or sheets and that sort of thing. I was sitting in front of a chroma key background. We can create something that's called a virtual set with our software. So it's like we're not really in a studio with like a table and stuff. We just have a regular table and a chair and everything's green screen, but we can make it look like that we're actually in a studio space, a virtual studio space. So that's kind of one of the cool things about stuff like that. And there's other software out there too that can do that, that have that type of capability. So, and that's a Grass Valley Calypso switcher, if you guys were wondering. That's one of the big switchers that they use for live productions. So, without further ado, does anybody have any questions? Any questions about what I've kind of talked about I feel like very fast? If not, then I'll kind of show you how to do chroma keying in Adobe Premiere, which if some of you aren't familiar with, is what some of us use for video editing and that sort of thing. So if you guys don't have questions, we can go right into it. So let me get out of PowerPoint. So if Premiere is not opened already, or if it's not minimized, go ahead and open it up. If there's a file that says demonstration files on your desktop, you can open that up and then double click on the chroma key example It's the PR logo. You can double click on that. Now we'll do the same. And everything's already kind of pre-built in here, kind of. We already have our files and stuff should be imported in here. Has everybody got it opened up? Anybody having any problems? Good? Once you have Premiere opened up, first of all, let's go up to the top to Window and go to Workspaces and go to Editing. Yes, Shannon?
The files are saying they're not found on this machine.
Okay. They probably need to be, they're probably looking for a different file path. They probably need to, so
Should we all just start from scratch? Because it's doing that for everyone.
yeah, they're not pathing correctly. I would click on if it opens up a file that says like locating files. I would click locate, and then go to the desktop. Go to demonstration files, and then it should search for it. I'm not sure how to explain it without it in front of me. I can't remember exactly. I forgot it would do that. Yeah, you can start from scratch if you want. We can import all the files. That'll be a lot easier for me. So if everybody just wants to, you can cancel out. If you have that dialog box where it's saying it's trying to search for files, just go ahead and click cancel. And if there's two files, if you go down to the bottom left, and there's a tab, it'll say Project Chroma Key Example, and there will be 2 files there. You can go ahead and delete those out, because what I'll show you is I'll show you how to re-import them into that file folder instead of trying to search for them. I'll give you some time to do that. And if you have questions, just let me know if you have problems. How's everybody looking? Are you good? Are you guys good? Are we all good? All right. All right. So, when you go to over in the window on the bottom left, in your project window, what you're going to do is that you're going to right click and you're going to click import. Then you right click in the project window down on the bottom left, or it's in my bottom left. It'll say Project Chroma Key Example. It's just your project window in Premiere. Have you all found that?
They're the 2 video files, right?
Yes. when you click import, it should already open up to the demonstration files folder. If it has not, then you can go to desktop and then go to demonstration files. I believe that's where it was saved or copied to. And then there's two video files. There's Blake green screen and there's library lawn aerial. You'll select those two and you can hold control and click those two, and then you'll be able to select both of them. And you'll click open. And it'll import the files and it'll drop it into the project window. I'll let everybody catch up. I keep forgetting I have a big monitor behind me for y'all to see. It's a good thing to have. You guys good? All right. So, first thing, what we're going to do is that we are going to drag the library lawn aerial video that's over here in the project folder that you see down here on the bottom left. And I'm going to drag it over to my timeline, which is on the right bottom right. So I'm going to drag it and drop. And you'll see it pop up, you'll see it create its timeline. So you have library lawn aerial in V1 and the audio track, which there's no audio, so you can disregard that. So I just did a simple drag and drop just to drag that video into our timeline. The next thing I'm going to do is that I'm going to take the Blake green screen file and I'm going to drag and drop on top of the library lawn aerial. So the Blake green screen video is going to be on top of the library lawn aerial. So the Blake green screen's on V2, library lawn aerial's on V1. And they're both 15-second clips, so they should match up together exactly. Everybody good so far? Yeah? Easy peasy, right? Okay, so what we're going to do next is that we're going to add an effect. It's our keying effect that we're going to drop. And so we're going to click, so you got these two little right arrows right here on your bottom left window where our project window is. We're going to click on that, and we're going to click on Effects. That's going to bring up our effects window. In the search box that I just clicked on, we're going to type in Ultra Key. So right here, we're going to type in Ultra Key. And then you see it pop up right here under Video Effects and Keying right here on the bottom. You see Ultra Keys right here. And what we're going to do is we're going to drag that.
1 word or 2?
2 words. We're going to drag it on top of Blake green screen. And nothing's going to happen. You're not going to see anything happen just yet. So what I did was drag Ultra Key over on top of Blake green screen, which is in V2. Everybody good so far? Yeah? See thumbs up. That's a good thing. So what we're going to do next, we'll double click on Blake green screen, and you'll see the picture of myself. Yeah, that's me. I was bored one night, so that's when I took those pictures of the green screen. I was in there just, monkeying around. So I figured, I'm going to use this as the example. So double click on that, and so that pops up in our source window, which is on the top left. Also on the top left, you'll see a tab that says Effect Controls. So I click on that. And basically, in this window, you have basically all your video effects that you can do with the video. But what we're going to focus on, we see Ultra Key right there. That's the effect that we just dropped onto that video, and it's going to show up in your Effect Controls window. So here's the next step. You see the setting that says Key Color, and you see a little eyedropper. I'm going to click on that eyedropper, and you're going to move that eyedropper, and you're going to click onto the green screen that's around me on the program monitor. So when you click on that, there's the Library Lawn aerial video that's keyed on the back of that. That's keyed onto the green. Y'all see that? Yeah? And you can play it. So to play the video, you'll click down here on your timeline, or you can click on your timeline like I just did, and you can hit spacebar, or you can just hit play on the program. So I'm just flying through Library Lawn, and I'm just being weird and looking up and stuff. I don't know what I was doing. I was just making weird faces. Everybody see that? Pretty cool, huh? Pretty easy. It's pretty, I mean, the shooting part, everything, you know, when I was talking about the lighting and talking about the shot compositions, that sort of thing, that's kind of the harder part of it. That's the part that you really want to focus on, is everything in your production part. And that goes with anything with video. You always want to get your production sound, you know, because you can't fix everything in post-production. You can't fix everything in editing. And so, you know, when we key the image in there, pretty easy, right? So it kind of looks, so it doesn't look perfect. It does. I mean, you got this little white hue up there, you know. It just doesn't look like you really want to, you know, put this in your final project. So everybody good, right? Anybody have questions? All right. Right here in your settings, it's set to default. Something that I like to use, you have different settings that you can do with or different options you have in your settings. You can choose relaxed. That kind of makes it kind of look a little bit, you know, you can kind of see the green a little bit more. Or you can use aggressive. And I like to use aggressive because it's going to take out a lot of that white hue that's in that shot. So I'm going to use aggressive. It's all gone, right? So that's something to consider. If you have that stuff like that, you can use that aggressive mode, and it'll take out a lot of the weird artifacts that's around your shot in your keyed image. So I'm going to expand this a little bit more, kind of make that a little bit bigger, especially for our viewing audience that's watching us today on ostate.tv. So you have a variety of different options with your Ultra Key effects. I mean, you can, you know, change the transparency. I mean, that's kind of make that go away, you know, or I can kind of blend into the shot. So kind of keep that at a solid 40. That way that I'm in the shot, you know, I'm fully in the shot, you know, in front of the key. So that's on your matte generation settings. So you can change, you can kind of adjust the settings as you see fit to make your shot look sharp. But one thing I really like to use is matte cleanup, because that's going to help me, like, so, and when you do green screen, when you do editing and stuff like that, sometimes you may have a green spillage that's around the outline of yourself. That's just the green that's behind you, and it, you know, the light's going to kind of reflect off, and it's going to kind of show that green hue around you. It's going to kind of make you look like, not necessarily like the Green Lantern or something like that, but what you can do to eliminate that. So you can kind of see in my shot, I kind of have kind of a white outline around me. So it's not necessarily green, it's white, because I think the green screen is a little bit brighter. So what I can do is I can kind of choke that up a little bit. So I can kind of remove some of that away, and that kind of removes some of that white outline. If I do it too much, it's going to kind of, you know, you're going to really see a difference. So you kind of want to find that happy medium. So you can do that. You can do soften. That can kind of soften the outlines up a little bit, kind of make it a little bit more crisp. Contrast, you can mess with that. I mean, Adobe Premiere has a lot of powerful settings that you can do with not only with chroma key, but with anything else. So if you just mess with the settings a little bit, I mean, I'm just showing you a few little, you know, tricks and stuff, or some things that you kind of need to know in order to, you know, have a crisp picture, you know, keyed over, or crisp subject keyed over a picture. So you kind of mess around with that a little bit if you want, you know, go through the settings. If you have questions, you know, let me know. I'll show you another thing. You can double click, so you can go to your program window. You can double click, and it should have me. Let's see, on V2, yeah, bright green screen. So what I can do is I can make myself smaller, or make myself bigger. So you can resize your shot how you want. Now you probably don't want to make it too big because it's going to look all pixelated. And I don't know, you know, it's, I mean, I can go, oh crap, let's see. So so where it says fit, I'm just going to go 10% just to make the window a little bit smaller. And I can do that. Yeah, I kind of went that a little bit fast, didn't I? Let me reset. I'm just going to do Control Z. Okay, so I'm in normal mode. So normal size of how the source of the video was shot. I'm going to go ahead, click on Fit, go to 10%. It'll make your program monitor a little bit smaller, and then you have your little hatch boxes where you can resize and do all that stuff. And you double click. To do that, you double click on the video, and it should have those notch points. And then you can go and resize it. You know, just drag it, make it bigger. Y'all see that? Y'all doing that? Kind of cool, isn't it? I'm going to go Control Z. I can make myself smaller. I'm actually going to go back to fit, so I'm going to actually go ahead and resize my program monitor. So I'm going to go from 10% back to fit. So, and I can kind of, don't want to do that. I can kind of, you can reposition your shot, you know, however you want. I can go over here. I'm just kind of messing around. I can go over here. I can go down here. So I'm going to do that. Also, too, you can rotate your shot, too. So if you go to your corners and you bring your cursor out just a little bit, and you'll see that right angle arrow thing, arrow icon or cursor. You just hold your mouse down, left click, and you can rotate your shot. So I could be upside down if I wanted to. And I can go up here. Again, I'm just messing around. I mean, it's just we're just having fun here. And I'm going to play it. That's silly. I know. It's probably not the best thing, but just kind of show you just the manipulation that you can do with these type of shots. So I'm just gonna go here. You could spend most of your day doing this stuff, probably. Anybody have any questions? Yes, Shannon.
I know you already covered this. Where do you go to get it kind of cropped on the outside a little better to get it to do away with the white?
Yep. Let me go back. Yeah, sure. Let me. Yeah, actually, I'm just gonna go. If you want to resize your picture back to normal size, you can right-click on the Blake green screen in the timeline, and go to. Oh, not set, scale. So right-click and you can go to scale the frame size. Right-click on Blake green screen. Oh, wait, never mind. I'm just going to do it manually because nothing's working. So I'm just going to manually do it. All right, let's do that. We'll just do an approximation. That's fine. We're not going to show that shot because that looks silly at me. Okay. So to do the choking and that sort of thing, go back to your effects controls window on the top left. You'll go to matte cleanup and you'll click on the drop down arrow. And you can use choke and soften to do that. So you can choke your image, the outline. So I'm just gonna reset it back to where it was. So you see there's a little bit of white on top of my head. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of soften that up a little bit. So I'm just using softened on that. I'm not going to use any choke. And it actually looks pretty good. It's just kind of softening your outline a little bit of the body.
That's perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions? I think I kind of covered all the basics. Well, if there's no questions, then thanks for listening. Appreciate it.
Thank you all for your questions and discussion. If you want to know more about green screen videography or the equipment available here in the library Creative Studios, I encourage you to visit our knowledgeable staff here in the Creative Studios or check out one of our long-term logins for lynda.com. Which is a website that offers thousands of online video training and tutorials over a variety of topics. Next Tuesday, our next Tech Tuesday at 2 will be from 3D model to prototype, which will be on October 3rd, and we hope you all can join us. And as always, we'll be giving away some more great tech prizes to our student attendees, so be here for a chance to win. I also want to mention the Library Creativity Award. All OSU students have a chance to showcase their creativity and win awards in 2D, 3D, motion, wildcard, and best in show categories. You can visit our website or ask any of our staff for more information. If you have any suggestions for future Tech Tuesday at 2 topics, please send them to us via Twitter with the hashtag LibTech2s. Right now, we are going to say goodbye to our live audience before we draw for prizes. Thank you to our friends at O State TV for hosting today's live stream, and goodbye to everyone who was with us online today.